Hey, what is going on everyone? Welcome back to another Clash Royale video. How are you guys doing today? Hope this video finds you all doing well. And folks, today we're going to be covering a deck that we have never covered before. And more so, we're going to be covering a new archetype on the channel. Now, I would have done a lot of control decks in general and some beatdown as well in the past, but I have never once featured a deck guide on Siege. So folks, today we're going to be making a change to that. We're going to be covering Xbow cycle, and this Xbow cycle is going to be a 3.1 cost deck, and I gotta say I really like the deck overall. And while it might be lacking that heavy rocket spell which most of you at home are probably accustomed to seeing in most popular Xbow decks, let me reassure you this folks, this Xbow deck still cycles pretty darn fast and it still packs quite the punch. So if you guys can just take some time and just listen to all the pointers in today's video, and also take away some bonus tips that you might find in the written guide that I'll be preparing for it as well, you guys can surely walk away knowing how to play Siege really well. Now before we move on with the video folks, I just want to mention one more thing, and that is that the cards that you're seeing played on screen right now are not going to be as consistent as you see when you try out the deck in game. And the reason for this is because several balance changes would have taken place. They are practically doing balance changes once every month now in Clash Royale, and I like that, but it's also got some downsides as well. One of them being that you'll never know exactly what's going to take over the meta for a really long period of time, unless it's like one of those tried and true decks that just never seem to fall off the meta completely. But anyways, I digress. So cards that you're going to be seeing affected by some of the balance changes would include the Mega Minion, the Ice Golem, and the Ice Spirit. In future, other changes might be made, however I can't really say they'll happen to this deck in particular. So anyways, just bear those things in mind there folks, that the stats aren't always going to be the same, but if the player has the skill to match the deck, then they'd be able to make the deck work so well and have a ton of success with it overall. So anyways folks, let's begin with our tips. So the first thing that I want to talk about is placements. So as you all know, placement and timing and stuff are really key elements in this game right now, and this is no exception for Siege decks, especially when you're playing something like a challenge overall, or maybe you're one win away from your new personal best on ladder and you happen to be using a Siege deck. Unlike beatdown decks, control decks, or any other archetype really, Siege decks, you have to master and memorize those placements, because a difference of one tile can make or break you overall. So what I'm trying to say here is folks, is that you need to make sure that you're placing the Xbow right. You need to make sure that you deploy your Xbow one tile below the river and one tile across from the arena wall. Now I can already hear those die-hard Xbow fans just chastising me in the comments below for some earlier mistakes, and I gotta say this folks, throughout this video you might see me making that same mistake of deploying it 2 tiles from the wall. That was really because I was just learning the deck at the time of these battles, so forgive me for that misplacement folks, but I really wanted to make sure that you guys were on the same page as me and just demonstrate exactly where you should position the Xbow. Now for the Tesla, you just need to place it really up front near the river. This should be able to distract any melee troops and most ranged troops, unless they drop it like really close to the Xbow itself. Then you should have almost nothing to worry about. Anyways folks, concerning my last video, I held a poll, or really a draft of some sorts here, and I asked you guys, which would you rather vote on, a mini P.E.K.K.A or a lumberjack? And based on the results from my last video folks, we would have seen that 100% of the commenters at the time would have preferred to take mini P.E.K.K.A instead of the lumberjack. Now let me be clear with you here folks, there is no right or wrong answer. I'm just hosting these to see which you guys prefer to take based on your playstyles and your overall preferences. I just want to get a feel of what you guys are thinking out there when you pick your drafts. So anyways folks, today's draft is going to be between the Hunter and the Musketeer, so I'm really eager to hear what you guys have to say about this one. I thought long and hard about it, but I'll let you all know what I think and why in the next video. Anyways folks, moving back onto the tips. Our second tip is going to be based on cycling. Now folks, this might be a cycle deck, however the deck isn't really going to cycle itself, so it's up to you guys to make the right decision based on the matchup at hand. So, for instance, if you're playing against someone who has, let's say, a bait deck, you're going to be watching out for their Goblin Barrel from time to time. Now, you might have the log, but remember, having a counter in your deck versus having a counter in your hand are two completely different things. So don't get that mixed up, folks. Even if you do have a card to counter your opponent, always remember, if it's not in your hand, you're probably not going to be able to make good use of it in time for when it's needed most. So, in order to be able to keep up with people who are using bait decks, you'll probably want to set up defensive Teslas and stuff, or maybe cycle an Ice Golem here and there when you suspect they're going to be dropping their princess at the bridge to bait out that log of yours. Again, folks, you gotta remember, be mature, think it through, and try to keep your log in hand as much as you can, unless they wasted their Goblin Barrel and you see an opportunity to set up an Xbow, in which case you can then deploy your Tesla and then follow up with a prediction log once you know they have Goblin Gang or something that can be logged in hand. So just remember, folks, when you're in the arena playing, you have to make sure you pick the right choices, otherwise they're going to be coming back to haunt you, and then you're going to be regretting it a lot, because if your opponent gets an advantage over you when you're playing a siege deck, it's going to be pretty hard for you to come back. I've said this in countless videos, and it still applies even now. So make sure you assess the situation very well before making each play. Keeping track of your opponent's cycle is very important, and if you can help it and just make sure you maintain your cycle very well, then you're going to be setting yourself up for a better chance at taking home the win. Anyways, folks, moving on to tip number 3 now, we have to just touch a little bit on predictions. So I might have mentioned before that you can predict some things like a Goblin Gang with a log. That's not all you can do, folks. Things like the Minion Horde, 3 Musketeers and stuff, you can predict all of that. However, 3 Musketeer predictions are going to be a bit of a stretch to do, really, because that takes some next level predictions to accurately land, because most people would deploy in the middle of the arena, but you just have to make sure you have an exact count of your opponent's cycle and their elixir at the same time. So that's going to be a little bit difficult for most of you who are just new to playing competitively overall, but I trust that most of you at home who are just senior players overall can definitely pull this off. Anyways, enough rambling. So like I was saying, you have to make sure that you're able to predict when your opponent has specific cards. You can only do this once you're 100% sure of your opponent's deck. I mean, you can still guess at times, but it's really safer to make prediction plays only after you've identified what your opponent is using against you already. So if you see your opponent has a Hog Rider, just make sure you have that Tesla in hand already. If you see your opponent has, let's say, I don't know, a Knight, a Prince or something like that, have your Ice Golem ready. You'll deploy that in front of the Xbow, and then you can continue defending it with your Tesla, your Mega Minion, your Ice Spirit, your Archers, or your Log of Fireball. I basically called out the entire deck there, but you get the picture. You want to make sure that you have things ready for whatever your opponent throws at you, and defending your Xbow at times is going to help you chip down your opponent's tower more and more, but make sure that you don't over defend as well. That's our tip number 4 there, folks. Do not over defend, because if you over defend, you're going to be stretching your elixir really thin, and then if your opponent sees an opportunity to cash in their elixir advantage over you, then you're really going to be setting yourself back, and they're going to be overwhelming you with a beatdown push or just whatever counter push they can muster, and you're not going to be able to defend against it, and you'll be losing a lot of damage overall. So folks, just remember, play very conservatively and know when and where to make the calls. So anyways, folks, once again, I'm really sorry that the gameplay you're seeing on the screen right now is kind of average. That's again because I was first learning the Xbow deck in general at the time of recording this. So yeah, nowadays I play much better, but back then I'm really cringing right now, to be honest, just looking at these replays. But in future I will have much better replays for you all. In fact, in the near future I will be working on a giant beatdown guide featuring the Witch as well. It's a deck that I made myself, and I really hope you guys like it. To be honest, it did a lot of good for me in the Arena Deck Challenge. So far, I've won almost every single battle I've played with it, and that's pretty amazing, folks. I am really satisfied with the results of that deck. So I'll bring that up on the channel as soon as I can, and you guys can let me know what you all thought of that when it goes live. Also, for those of you interested, you guys can get a discount on your next purchase of a Nova Esports t-shirt. If you guys are interested in that sort of stuff, You can find a link to all of that in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment. I would highly recommend you guys check that out while the offer still stands, and you can also get a discount on Spartan Elite Energy using my discount code as well. So make sure you guys check that out when you have the chance, and I hope you guys enjoy the product as well. So anyways folks, this is going to be our last match for today's video. So if you guys have made it up to this point in the video so far, thank you all so much for watching. It really means a lot to me, and let me know that you made it up to this point by commenting down below #XbowLife. So show your support if you're a true Xbow fanatic, and yeah, I'll be eager to hear what you all have to say in the comments. So anyways folks, back to the match at hand. We're fighting I'm not even gonna butcher his name like I might be doing there. We're just gonna call him Steve like we used to anyways. So good old Steve, he's playing a sort of P.E.K.K.A control deck right now. He's got the Dark Prince, which was before the princes and stuff got their nerf. The Xbow, it's gonna be locking onto that tower there, and he has an Ewiz in the back doing nothing right now. So he's gonna try to cycle a ram there and get to the Xbow. I just log everything back there with the help of the Tesla. The Tesla does work right now, and it distracts the Ewiz and allows my Xbow to get so much damage onto his tower there. It is just so freaking amazing how much value I was able to get off of that push. We cycled some cards here. I failed with the Ice Spirit. I should have really held that back a little bit, let the Ewiz touch the tower once, I guess, if anything, but whatever. We managed to cycle to the Ice Golem, and that really helped keep our defenses in order. So he cycles another Ewiz here, so I'm just going to be splitting archers there. They take care of that there, and we are ready to go once again. So we're waiting a little bit and getting our elixir in order so that we can use our Xbow. But at this point in time, I did not know that he had a P.E.K.K.A in hand, and as soon as I drop that Xbow, he's going to be ready for us with that P.E.K.K.A. So we're going to be quick to deploy our Tesla, and the moment he does deploy that P.E.K.K.A, I drop an Ice Spirit there. He sends a Mega Minion as well. We are sending everything we can, but that Ice Golem was really horrible, guys. Like I said, I was such a nub playing this deck at first. So I mean, I had the basics right, but damn, looking back at these replays, it's just hilarious, man. I was making so many mistakes. You guys are probably face spamming right now in the comments below, but whatever, guys. I had to get this out at some point in time, so I figured why not. Anyways, we're back up to another Xbow, and my goodness, I am cringing so much at the placements right now. Please do not make the same mistakes that I did in these matches here. Place your Xbows correctly so that you can make sure you can defend it better. So we have this Ice Spirit going here for us right now, and with the help of the archers and stuff, we do clear a pathway for the Xbow to lock onto that tower. Getting a few shots off there, a little bit is all we need really, and we can get some more damage overall. We are going to have 3 minutes of overtime left, and this is going to be where things get a little bit sticky for us. So we drop a fireball right now, and we log as well there, keeping the P.E.K.K.A backwards a little bit. We even hit the incoming battle ram there, which was pretty amazing, and we Ice Spirit everything there for the win. That takes care of that really there. The Mega Minion is doing its best to help us out, and we are back up to once again another Xbow. So this time when we set up, we're gonna be ready with another Xbow from the backline there, helping us chip away at whatever he sends for us. We log the P.E.K.K.A backwards. I fireball the Ewiz. We have the Ice Golem blocking everything right now there. The Ice Spirit just lands a little too late there. The P.E.K.K.A does get a swing, and my goodness, he's back up to this Dark Prince, which is really just gonna frustrate me right now. It kills my archers there. They weren't far enough back. If this was the Dark Prince that was after the nerf, they wouldn't have died really there. He'd have taken an extra second or something like that to charge up, and maybe folks, maybe those archers might have survived. So we drop our Xbow here, and he immediately responds with a P.E.K.K.A there. We react with an Ice Golem there just to block that P.E.K.K.A there, and with the help of our supporting troops, we managed to clear a pathway for our Xbow to lock onto that tower there, and then we just fireball for the win there, and this brings us the win. So anyways folks, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope these tips were paying off for you guys. I know the gameplay was kind of cringy and kind of basic, to be honest. I know I can do much better, and in future I will try my best to get some better replays for you all like I usually do. So anyways folks, and don't forget folks, our draft today is going to be between the Hunter and the Musketeer. So make sure you comment down below letting me know your exact thoughts on which of these cards you would prefer to take into battle with you. And if you guys are enjoying these videos that I'm making and you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications to be aware of whenever I upload next. So anyways folks, Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, remember, if you keep on digging, you'll eventually strike gold, but even then, keep on digging deeper. You'll eventually come across something even more worth your while. So once again, everyone, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace out, guys.